What's up, everybody? What is up, everybody? Lowens, Dubby, Suki, Kisuke, how you guys all doing? How's everybody doing today? Neto, how you doing? I've been good, bro. Skylander, how you doing? Andre, Bear Bros, Telos, Snailium, Lowens, Felipe. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing today? A lot to cover in this stream. Decade, how you doing? How's everyone doing? Yeah, a lot to cover in the stream today, chat. We're going to be talking about Meruem versus Sukuna, and there's a lot of different forms of Sukuna as well. And I'm also working on like an actual video for this. So really, I want to get into the debate portion like pretty quickly for today. And I'm actually trying to finish this whole stream in like an hour and a half, maybe a little less than that. That's kind of what I'm aiming for. Just because I have some other things I got to do after this. But we'll see how that goes. Who you got? Yeah, I'll be talking about that throughout the stream. Because honestly, there's arguments you can make for either one winning. I don't want to reveal like the answer that I'll have for the video. But basically, I wanted to see more arguments. So, like you can make arguments for either one winning this fight. They're pretty close in overall stats. But I want to hear if people can think of, like, some Meruem arguments that I haven't thought of yet. So, for today, I think I'm going to be debating on Sukuna's side. And I think that would be more interesting to do because, I did the poll on this yesterday, and like Meruem won overwhelmingly. So I think today I'm just going to be debating that Sukuna would win. You said you good, bro? You sound exhausted. Oh yeah, I mean my sleep schedule is completely destroyed, but I'm doing good. But yeah, if you guys want to hop into the Discord for the debate, I put the link right here. So like, if you go to my channel, right? This just the quick tutorial. You go to my channel, you click on posts, and then you click on this this post right here, like the most recent one. You go to the pinned comment. Here's a link to the Discord. If Bromus shows up, usually Bromus pastes the Discord link in the chat, but I don't know if he'll be available today. Okay, so there's that. That's how you join in the actual debate portion that we're gonna have soon. And yeah, I did this poll yesterday, and Meruem won this overwhelmingly, which is pretty wild. So I'm interested in hearing some of the points people have for that. But yeah, let's go ahead and just talk about a little bit of scaling for the JJK verse, comparing it to the Hunter x Hunter verse. And then we're just going to get into the debates pretty quickly, all right? Yeah, Bear Bros, I'm in grad school. All right. All right, so let's get going. So one of the big points that I wanted to talk about right off the bat, this is a statement from Gojo in the Jujutsu Kaisen manga. And Gojo says that the special grade sorcerers, one of the things that, like one of the prerequisites to be a special grade sorcerer, it means that you're strong enough to single-handedly overthrow a nation. Like you can 1v1 against an entire nation and win, basically. All of the special grades should be capable of that, which is pretty crazy. And it actually ties in really well with this statement that they have for, this is post-Rose Meruem in Hunter x Hunter. When Knuckles sees post-Rose Meruem in the anime, he says, you'd need an entire nation's military might to handle this. So in Knuckles' perspective, he thinks like a nation might be able to handle Meruem. He hasn't seen any of Meruem's abilities yet, so he doesn't know that for sure. He's just judging purely off of like raw aura. He doesn't know any of Meruem's powers or how smart Meruem is, anything like that. So like this estimate from Knuckle, it could be wrong. It might actually just be wrong, but he does state this, and in the manga it says you need military at the state level. I actually think the anime translation for this is just probably the more accurate of the two, but even that's debatable. But like, if you just take this 100% literally, you could just make the argument that even the special grade sorcerers in Jujutsu Kaisen would be above post-Rose Meruem. Just that. Hold up, my cat is walking near the mic. Hopefully she doesn't unplug it. Get away from there, please. Alright, she might be good, just chilling over there. But yeah, if you take this statement just 100% literally, then you can make an argument that just the special grade sorcerers on their own could handle post-Rose Meruem, and Sukuna is like magnitude stronger than the special grade sorcerers, like to the point where even like at a fraction of his power, I'd argue less than half power, he was still stronger than like all the special grade sorcerers working together, to the point where he was holding back, like barely even trying, and still just like soloing them. Okay, so that's something you could use to say Sukuna would win. Here's just some information about like how Sukuna's domain expansion works. It's not really too important here. It's really not. I was more just putting these slides here to show like the magnitude of destruction his domain had even at just 15 fingers, and it's even more powerful when he's at 20, but that's not too important right now. We can just scroll past this. We also see him one-shot Ryu, who's like one of the more actually one of the most durable characters in the verse. He one-shots him while at 15 fingers, and just becomes stronger, but that's not too important at the moment. We can look at some of Meruem's powers. When he's in his post-Rose form, he has like Yuppie's laser cannon. It's actually not that strong. It like doesn't even destroy a mountain. It like makes a crater in a mountain, basically. He has this light speed N, which is pretty impressive because he also can like mix Poof's scales into it. So this is actually one of his most powerful abilities. It's kind of like, if you're highballing it, you could say that it's kind of like almost like Gojo's domain expansion, because like this is what's stated by Poof, is like he mixed spiritual message in with his N, and we see he's able to like read people's emotions if he hits them with his N. But you could also make an argument that he would be able to hypnotize people using his N as well. That's more debatable, so I'm interested in like speaking to people about that. But yeah, we saw Poof would use his scales to hypnotize like normal humans. He didn't use it on, well, we didn't see him hypnotize any of the actual hunters though. So it's debatable, like how long would it take to hypnotize someone with these scales? That's something I'm interested in discussing too. But yeah, technically this would be like one of Meruem's strongest attacks if you're highballing it. If he just hits you with his end, he uses that. When he eats the aura of like different characters, he makes their power his own, and so he like gets stronger the more that he eats. And on top of that, like post-Rose Meruem, what post-Rose Meruem is, that's him eating the aura of Yuppie and Poof and like gaining their abilities, and then using them at a better level than they could. So like, this is actually one of Meruem's best win conditions. If he's fighting Sukuna, for example, right? And he rips off Sukuna's arm, eats Sukuna's arm. A highball interpretation of it is like Meruem might gain Sukuna's abilities, use them better than Sukuna does, and just like win for certain. Another option is like if he's fighting Meguna, the Sukuna who has the 10 shadows, and he eats like a limb from Mahoraga, he gains adaptation. That's pretty much a guaranteed win condition for him. He's going to win from that point on. You could even make an argument that Meruem would be able to develop a domain expansion on the fly, akin to how Pito was able to develop a Hatsu ability the moment Pito wanted one. Like, something that makes Meruem unique is he was never really outclassed in his entire life, other than when he was hit by the Rose Bomb, which was something completely unexpected that just like obliterated him in an instant, basically. People say that he tanked the Rose Bomb. He really didn't. He like had all his limbs blown off, basically. He was just like, he was about to die. That's why Poof and Yuppie gave 80% of their aura to him. They didn't do it for no reason, right? Anyway, yeah, you could make an argument that if Meruem like rips off the limbs of one of the 10 shadow beasts, eats their limb, he would gain their powers, gain cursed energy, develop a domain on the spot, stuff like that, because he would like want that. Okay. Also, there are calculations like if you just calculate the jewels required for Sukuna's domain, this is like a debatable thing too. You can do the calculations yourself if you want, but some of the calculations I was doing is like the raw jewels required for Sukuna's domain expansion. Like if you take something that's a 200 meter radius, and it's chopping like all these buildings into rubble and then burning all that rubble into ash, the raw jewels required to do that actually is far greater than the rose bomb. It's like 30 times more. Okay. There's a chance, there could be a chance that there's an error in the calculations, but I did them a few different times. Like I did it like a year ago when I was making the Netero versus Sukuna video, and then I did them all again today and got like the same numbers. Like the jewels required to do this is like 30 times greater than a rose bomb. But yeah, so anyway, even if he doesn't use Fuga, it's like on par with the rose bomb. Just like the slashes on its own, just turning everything in a 200 meter radius. And if you say it's as tall as like a 20-foot tall building, it's like yeah, it's like on par with the rose bomb even without Fuga at 15 finger level, and then it gets even stronger at 20. So Sukuna has a lot of advantages, I'm gonna be honest. Meruem's best chances of winning are like getting up close and just like outboxing him, because I would say Meruem is significantly better at hand-to-hand fighting. He also has precognition, essentially precognition with like his pattern, like his ability to recognize patterns. It's just at such a high level that he's pretty much seeing the future. So if he's boxing Sukuna, he's just going to be winning that exchange pretty much every time. He also can like make clones of himself with Poof's ability. So that's pretty good. He has the light speed N if you're taking post-mortem, I mean, not post-mortem, post-rose Meruem into account. So, I mean, Meruem has things he can do, and if he eats, if he gains cursed energy mid-fight by eating either a Shikigami or like one of Sukuna's limbs, then his victory is pretty much guaranteed. But yeah, his best chance of victory is to like get up close and outbox Sukuna right away. Or I would say that's one of his options. And the other options would just be like gaining Sukuna's powers or gaining the powers of some other beast like Mahoraga or someone else, gaining those and then beating Sukuna that way. But if Sukuna uses the domain expansion, he's in real trouble, honestly. He would be in real trouble. But there are ways you can survive the domain expansion, like if you just like start boxing Sukuna right away. Well, no, you have to do enough damage to break the domain, or you just run outside of the domain instantly. So he might be capable of either of those, but even that's debatable. So yeah, I want to just go ahead and get into the debates though right away. I really want to see some arguments for Meruem winning, because yeah, like the poll had him winning overwhelmingly, so I'd like to see some answers people have. Deadbird, what's up, bro? What's the speed scaling looking like? So the speed scaling for both verses is actually pretty relative to each other. Like with like if you're using medium ball interpretations for both characters, like the best thing you could do is say that they're both like a bit faster than the speed of lightning. A couple ways you can prove this is just like Sukuna was fighting Kashimo, a guy who just turns himself into lightning, and while Sukuna's at like a fraction of his power, he's still reacting to him, like outboxing him and just kind of low diffing him. Another thing is Sukuna has a cursed tool that just shoots lightning bolts at people, and the idea of Sukuna having a cursed tool weaker than himself is kind of debatable. Yeah, I think the verses, both of the verses are not really that crazy in terms of overall stats. They're pretty relative to each other. And then when you go to Meruem, it's like you would kind of scale Meruem off of Godspeed Killua. who uses electricity to like increase his reaction speed. So there's like debates over how fast Godspeed Killua's reaction speed actually is. Most people think it's the speed of lightning. Some people think it's slower. Some people think it's the speed of light. So a medium ball interpretation is Godspeed Killua's reaction speed is around the speed of lightning. Postmortem Nen Pito is relative to that, and Adult Gon was like speed blitzing Postmortem Nen Pito, like a fodder character. And Meruem, just base form Meruem, is stated to have like relative stats to Adult Gon. So that puts like Meruem on the like tiers of lightning timer as well. And then Post Rose Meruem is like he's a bit stronger than normal Meruem. He could be like 2 or 3 times stronger. So like they're both relative to lightning. But Meruem has a confirmed light speed attack, which is his light speed N. The voter poll was biased, possibly. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and get into the debates. I'm going to open up the debate channel, and we can just go ahead and get into that. Oh, wait, before I open the debates, I'm going to grab my other laptop so I can see the chat while this is going on. Just give me 1 second. Let me get my other laptop to my living room. 1 second. Okay, I got my laptop. I just got to plug it in. I didn't even talk about World Cutting Slash either. Because, like I said, I really, my main focus with this debate is I wanted to hear if anyone had any arguments for Meruem winning that I hadn't thought of yet. Like, there's a couple interesting ones you can make, right? Like, if you think, like, here's an argument you can make. I'll just start listing off some different ones. So some arguments you could make is that, you would have to say things like this. You would have to say, like, the calculation that I did for domain expansion and Fuga, let's just say they're wrong. And let's say that Meruem is actually durable enough to withstand it. Okay? To make that kind of argument, you would have to say something like, Sukuna's normal dismantles and cleaves wouldn't really damage him. Like, maybe Sukuna's normal dismantle and cleaves are just on par with Netero's normal Buddha hand strikes. You would have to make an argument kind of like that. And even if Meruem's getting hit by thousands of them, it would just like barely do anything. You'd have to make an argument kind of like that. And then you could say like he would just run away before Sukuna fired off Fuga. You have to say stuff like that. Like run outside of the open barrier domain. Okay, I have the chat up on my other laptop, so I'm gonna start the debates now. But yeah, for this debate, I'm going to be arguing for Sukuna, and it's because I really want to. I just want to hear if people have other arguments for Meruem winning. Okay, so let me open the Discord. Let's see here. All right, so I'm gonna be in debate voice chat 1. And yeah, it doesn't look like we have anyone in there yet. So here, let me go ahead and get the Discord link, and I'll paste it back into the chat. Let's see. I'm getting the Discord link again. I'll paste it in there for you guys. Is anyone having trouble like accessing the live stream? Give me a second. I'm grabbing the Discord link. I'll just paste it. Am I logged in on Discord on this other laptop? I don't even know. I am. All right. Yo, Isaac, what's up, bro? How you doing?
Yo, what's up? Big fan. Thanks for putting on the streams that you do.
Oh yeah, no problem, dude. Thanks for watching them. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But
So, I not too much to say, but I was curious what you were thinking in terms of aura diffing between Sukuna and Meruem. In terms of reinforcement, if say Meruem had enough aura to not be damaged by Sukuna's dismantles, is that something you considered?
so I'm sorry. I was just pasting the Discord link. So you were saying, do I think Meruem would be able to just tank Sukuna's attacks with raw aura? Was that it?
Yeah, and I imagine that a lot of attacks are such that they can damage buildings and it takes a lot of force. But say Gojo versus Sukuna needs a lot more output just to do any damage, and the amount of output he does to damage Gojo is more than necessary for a building. So depending on aura levels, I don't know how we would match aura and Nen here though.
No, that's a good point. So basically, you're saying like, if Sukuna was a Hunter character, would he just get aura diffed by Meruem, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's a really interesting point because they're both considered like kind of aura monsters of their verse. Like, I mean, if we're using cross-verse equalization, that's kind of what I was doing when I was putting the slides together. Sukuna had like more than twice as much as Yuta, and Yuta was like a guy who had more aura than Gojo, and or more cursed energy than Gojo rather. And then Meruem just has like about as much as Adult Gone, and they're just kind of cliffing all the royal guards and everyone else. So I mean, it's hard to say who would have more aura if they were both like Hunter characters. So I mean, that's honestly a good argument. Like maybe you could say maybe Meruem just would have more aura if they were both Hunter characters, and then like he's not getting hurt by anything. But I was kind of just thinking like taking aura diffing out of the equation, and just basing it on like raw destruction. What can they tank based on raw destruction? Like we saw Meruem was able to take thousands of Buddha hands, and like you can kind of scale the Buddha hands. Sorry, this is a long answer. Like, would you want me to keep going forward, or do you want me to pause?
No worries. If you want to let someone else talk, they can go ahead too.
Oh no, yeah, because
I think I get your point.
No, yeah, because that's honestly a good argument, and I think I should explain kind of how I was scaling it, because there's this statement from Uvogen in the manga where it says Uvogen's Big Bang impact is on par with a small missile. So like one way you could scale it is to say that Netero's singular Buddha hand is like on par with Big Bang impact, and like Meruem was taking thousands of those. So it's like Meruem can basically take like thousands of small missiles and barely feel damage. But like one rose bomb is like beyond his durability, and like that's kind of how I was scaling it. And you can kind of scale like Sukuna's attacks to missiles too, based off of like him one-shotting the special grade curses, and the curses have like a durability chart where it's like if they're special grade, you might be able to beat them with a cluster bomb, which is like on par with a small missile. So like they actually kind of scale like that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I'm not sure what your opinion on this is. If a Nen attack that had the same potency as a missile could be tanked better than a missile, but from Meruem, let's say.
That's an interesting question. I mean, in verse, I actually think yes, just because of like how aura diffing works. Yeah, in verse, I would say yes. Like, for example, I think Meruem would tank Uvogen's Big Bang impact better than if someone just actually shot him with a missile.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say yes to that. But I think for just like a cross-verse equalization fight, I think the best thing to do is like kind of take aura diffing out of the equation. But I mean, in a video for this, I probably would mention that. Like, if you're highballing Meruem, you could just say he aura diffs Sukuna and like isn't being hurt by anything, and then just kind of pummels him. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it's hard to say that though, because Sukuna he has like the most cursed energy in the verse.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, thanks for taking the call and answering my question.
Oh no,
That's it really.
okay, no problem. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And so who would? Oh, let me see. Hold on. Who would like to go next?
Okay, so are you translating like curse energy to aura, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much just. So like, I guess I should clarify. I'm basically just taking away the hacks that they would have if it wasn't cross-versed. Like, for example, without cross-verse, like, you can't even see curses. I don't know if Sukuna doesn't really count as a curse, though. He's like an incarnated sorcerer. So, like, I've seen some people say if you don't use cross-verse, Meruem can't even see him. But I don't know if that's really true because he's incarnated. And then, like, another thing is getting Nen crushed. Like, if you don't have Nen and you have, like, a human body, just, like, raw aura basically breaks all your bones. So, I was taking away, like, those kind of factors.
Okay, how do you feel about Sukuna's malicious aura affecting Mara?
In what way?
I mean, do you think that's going to hinder him at all? Or what?
Like, just him being, like, a scary entity?
I mean, yeah, not faster, that's fine. Okay, until like what happened there were you?
Oh, no, yeah, definitely not, no. Because, I mean, they're both depicted to be, like, equally terrifying. Like, we even saw Netero, like, thought he was going to die just, like, seeing Pito's Hatsu, and Meruem's a lot stronger than Pito is. Like, they both kind of have, like, that same depiction of just, like, terrifying people with their aura. So, no, I don't think so. I think, if anything, they both, like, would just kind of see each other as equals.
Based on the character traits that they have?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, they're both just kind of viewed as, like, the number one in their own eyes. Like, Meruem views himself as he's, like, meant to be the king of all species, and, like, Sukuna views himself as the king of curses, so I think they would just kind of narratively, like, see each other as the same. It would just kind of be like Gojo versus Sukuna again. I don't think either one is getting scared of the other.
So, do you have Meruem winning or, like, Sukuna winning?
I mean, it could really, like, I don't want to say 100% who I would think would win today because I'm making a video on it, but they both have win conditions over each other, yes. They both have win conditions.
Who has more, in your opinion?
It's hard to say. I mean, it comes down to creativity, right? Like, I can list a few for both. And I've...
Okay, which ones are more feasible? That's what I'm asking.
Well, like, this is the kind of stuff I'm trying to say for the video, you know? But, like, I can say... I can list a few, like, for Meruem, his best win conditions is him getting up close and, like, outboxing him because he's better at hand-to-hand, has better durability. Basically just killing him before he can use domain expansion. Another thing is, like, if he eats one of the 10 shadow beasts, he'd gain their abilities, and he's probably, like, low diffing Sukuna from that point. He might even get a domain, like, instantly. If he eats one of Sukuna's limbs, he might get all of Sukuna's powers and use them better than Sukuna would. So, like, there's a lot of ways Meruem could win. And then Sukuna's best win conditions is just, like, the world cutting slash would one-shot him. There's some calculations that say, like, domain plus Fuga would one-shot him, but those are debatable. And just, like, trying to zone him out, basically. So there's they both have win conditions, really. So I mean,
okay, so you're using verse equalization. So, like, can you give more clarification what you mean by that? Like, so what is all the things that are removed and what is, like, gained from a neutral playing field?
Yeah, I mean, just to make it verse equalization, I was just taking out the concept of Nen crushing. So, like, Meruem's not going to just go up and, like, one punch Sukuna and he'd die just from having Nen and Sukuna not having Nen. And other than that, it's all pretty much the same. Like, yeah, that's pretty much just the main thing.
Okay. So, you're just gonna say most of the talking points for the video? I'll just wait for that.
No, I mean, like, I'm just not saying who I genuinely think would win. I wanted to pick Sukuna just because I wanted to see if anyone could think of some Meruem arguments that I hadn't thought of. But, I mean, I could debate either one, but, like, if we get in a situation where no one's debating Meruem, then maybe I'd switch over to Meruem, but for today's stream, I was just going to pick Sukuna because the poll I did was like 75% of people said Meruem would like low diff him. So I wanted to hear if people had other arguments I hadn't thought of.
So, okay, is Meruem gaining curse energy, or is he gaining like this aura, or is Sukuna gaining aura? What is Sukuna gaining?
I'm not sure. What do you mean?
You said they're equalized. So, what is equalized? Curse energy or aura?
They're both, like, by equalize, I mean, like, really the only thing is that Sukuna's not getting Nen crushed. That's kind of the only thing it means.
So he doesn't gain Nen?
No.
Okay, so you don't think, like, Sukuna can do anything to him?
No, I've said a few times, I think Sukuna can do a few things. Like,
I mean, you just said, like, they're all, like, speculatory, that it's not really likely.
So, no, I've said it. Okay, so let me say with Sukuna, I said, like, his domain expansion, based off of, like, just the jewels required for the domain expansion plus Fuga, that might one-shot Meruem. That's one thing. Another thing, world cutting...
Right. Okay.
World cutting slash is almost guaranteed one-shotting him. And there are some arguments...
You said that might hit too, so that's another thing that might happen. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the third one?
And then oh yeah, there's some debates that like cleave adapts to people's durability. Another thing you could say is like Sukuna would just outlast Meruem because he can regenerate himself, meanwhile Meruem can't regenerate. So yeah, he has
you think that's likely to?
Yeah, I mean that's a real possibility of something happening. Like him fight, like Meruem's not healing himself throughout the fight, so if he's fighting someone on par with him in pretty much every stat, he's going to get worn down and lose eventually. Meanwhile, Sukuna will just keep regenerating as long as he has cursed energy, and he's not going to run out.
So you don't think it's a disparity between the two? So they're pretty equal in your opinion?
Yeah, they're pretty close.
So
I would say the only advantage...
Can't mid diff from at all, or high diff. It's just high diff for both either way.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm leaning. I mean, do you have any arguments yourself? Like, do you have any ideas?
I mean, I'm just curious because, like, they're not really gaining anything or losing anything if they get verse equalization, aside from the net thing we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just think, like, going off what you say, it sounds like Meruem just wins, like, pretty easily.
Okay, why do you say that?
Like, literally, you just said, like, it's very speculatory and it's not very likely for him to land his biggest win cards.
I don't really know about that. I mean, there's a pretty high chance he just gets one shot by domain. I could just say that. Like I could say the fight just starts, he instantly opens domain and Fuga, and then Meruem just dies immediately.
Does he have the intuition to do that?
Does Sukuna have the intuition to open his domain?
To immediately do his domain, yes.
Well, he does them in pretty much every fight. Like, actually, I think every fight he's been... Huh?
To immediately use it?
I mean, even if it's not immediately, he can just use it, like, as they're fighting.
And you think Meruem just won't stop that?
Well, if he's fighting... Like, let's put it like this. If he's fighting Maguna, no, there's a good chance he could pop the domain. If he's fighting 20-finger Sukuna, I don't really see why he wouldn't be able to.
Okay. So this is like all Sukunas, like comp Sukuna, or is this like a specific Sukuna?
Just any kind. Like, because in the video I'll go through all forms, but it's like,
okay,
But yeah, I mean, in character, Sukuna typically doesn't open domain immediately. Like, he'll box with people a little bit. So even if he's like getting overwhelmed in the beginning, I don't think he's getting low diffed, because it's like he can constantly regenerate himself. Meruem can't, and every slash he's throwing is gonna do at least something. Especially cleave, that I think there's statements where it says it adapts to the person's durability. So it's like,
Yeah, they're toughness. Yeah.
yeah, so Meruem's taking damage, Sukuna's regenning back to full power over and over. It doesn't take long for him to pop his domain. Like, he just needs like a second to do it.
What do you have Hunter x Hunter speeds going at?
They're relative to each other. No one really has.
Like Mach? Is that Mach's?
No,
Fairly Mach's.
it's lightning, and we're gonna go to the next person in like 3 minutes. But
Okay.
but yeah, it's relative. So like yeah, like it wouldn't be that hard for Sukuna to pop his domain one time in a life or death struggle. Like, yeah, he would only really need to do it once. We even saw like another thing about him, especially Heian Air Sukuna. He has 4 limbs, so it's like he can box Meruem with 2 limbs and then use domain with the other 2.
Man, I don't think the extra appendages is really gonna help him.
Well, it definitely would with popping the domain, because like basically like the one win condition you were saying is like Meruem stops him from opening the domain, like he rushes him and is like beating him up so badly that he can't make the singular domain hand sign. But like if he's beating him up, and
with more appendages, but
yeah, I mean,
it's
if
just presupposing that he just won't stop him from using other arms too,
like, how is he going to stop him?
by moving his arms.
Meruem's going to move his arms?
Yes.
Like, you mean like he'll be starting to do the seal and Meruem just like breaks the seal?
Yeah, you think he's not strong enough to do that?
I don't know. I mean, they seem like pretty relative in terms of strength. Like, I would say the only thing like Meruem has a big advantage in is durability.
To what degree? Is it like high or low?
I mean, it's probably like, it's still relative, but just like a bit higher. And honestly, like, Sukuna has regen and Meruem doesn't, so it doesn't make that big of a difference.
Honestly, it's just like really the main factor is like the speed.
Yeah, and they're about equal. I'd say in speed they're about equal based off of like different showings.
I mean, is this like a high ball, like for both, or like mid ball?
If you highball, then Sukuna's way faster.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. It's pretty simple. But Meruem's like high ball is just not close enough.
You said if Meruem's highballed, he's not close to Sukuna?
And it's high ball, yeah.
Yeah, highballed Sukuna is a lot stronger than a highballed Meruem.
So are you gonna go over that too?
Yeah, I will, but I think I'll go to the next person. Is there any like one last thing you wanted to say?
No, not really. I was just really curious to see your full stance on it.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. Thanks for sharing. So, who would want to go next?
I'm down if nobody is.
Okay, yeah. Was that the Sukuna in the chat?
No, I'm Exilla.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah. So where do you scale Sukuna highball speed?
So if you're highballing him, then you would use the feat with Kashimo, where like it says Kashimo is like made of electromagnetic waves, and those are like the speed of light, and he fires those at Sukuna while he's like at a fraction of his full, like I think he's at less than half power. He has brain damage, and he still reacts to it like after the light beams are flying through the air with World Cutting Slash. So it's like World Cutting Slash would be far faster than light. His reaction speed's all far faster than light, even while he's damaged. So it's like, I would say like highball, he's like 10 times faster than light, something like that. Like in the range of like 5 to 10.
Oh, okay. Like I've seen many views online where it says like people try to make it out to where it's not an actual light speed of like the position of where Sukuna was, and like, I think someone said that he dodged the he was out of the way already, or something like that. Do you remember which chapter it was?
You're talking about when Sukuna was fighting Kashimo?
Yeah. I think it was the light speed attack, or the light, like the waves, the sound waves, or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's
Waves.
237.
Okay.
But I mean, like that's the highball for it because light speed scaling doesn't really make sense with the rest of the Jujutsu Kaisen verse. It makes more sense to say that it's just actually lightning, and Gege, he wrote electromagnetic waves just thinking that they were lightning. Like he saw the word electromagnetic and just thought, oh, that's probably electricity, so it's probably lightning speed, and then just put it in there, which is like pretty likely because Gege makes like a lot of weird speed mistakes in the story.
Okay. If we be disingenuous towards that feat, and then we try to, wait. What's your highball for Meruem speed?
I mean, if you highball Meruem, you would say like his N is the speed of light, and like all of his attacks are also the speed of light too. Like all of his everything he can do is the speed of light. But it's hard to just say that he's like 5 or 10 times faster than it. Like the N was the fastest thing he had ever done or ever displayed. So yeah, it's like the highball is just saying like everything Meruem does is the speed of light. He punches at the speed of light, dodges at the speed of light, flies at the speed of light, all of that. But it's kind of hard to say he would be just magically faster than that. I guess if you're being like really crazy about it, maybe you can make some argument like he fired N at the speed of light and then he like jumped over to his targets at the speed of light without using Nen at all. And then he could become dozens of times faster than light using Nen. But I think that's just such a crazy thing to say that it doesn't really seem fair. Like it's like, that's a kind of ridiculous highball. Like there's ridiculous highballs you can use for JJK that I don't even consider logical. Like, there's this scene where Gojo's in the prison realm, and the prison realm like doesn't have time, and Gojo's still able to move around and like use his abilities and stuff. So that would mean like Gojo's above time, and you could make him like a 4th dimensional character. Like that would put him like above universal level people, and Sukuna's just fighting him. So like you could make a universal 4D level Sukuna, and it's like I don't use any of that. So it just, there's like highball, and then there's like such an extreme highball that it doesn't seem right to use. So I kind of like ignore that level.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna try to make an argument for Meruem being like speed of light while it wasn't consistent for Sukuna being on that speed. So I was gonna say that Meruem's speed blitz, and that's his win condition.
I mean, you could make I honestly think that they really are just kind of like on the same tier in terms of speed. Just like I think Post Rose Meruem would be like 2 or 3 times faster than Godspeed Killua, and I think Sukuna is like in that realm as well. But yeah, I think like honestly one of Meruem's best win conditions is just getting up close and outboxing him, because I do think he would outbox him.
And do you think there's like a way for Meruem to like survive the domain while like trying to like break it by doing a lot of damage to Sukuna?
Honestly, I don't think I don't think he can pull a Gojo and box his way out of it, because he doesn't have the ability to regen himself. Like the way Gojo was getting out of it, he was like constantly healing. So like we see as soon as Gojo's in the domain, he's just like instantly coated in blood. I think something similar would happen to Meruem, and he would just have no way to heal from it. So he wouldn't be able to fight in that state very well. Like Meruem's best way to survive that is just fly out of it. Like yeah, just flying out of it. Or maybe if he blasts him with an aura cannon, that would like damage him enough to like break the domain. But like then Meruem's still really damaged. And then the other thing is if he's fighting Maguna and he just eats like one of the Shikigami, he might be able to on the spot develop reverse curse technique, and then he probably could outbox him. Like
But wouldn't
outbox.
that only apply if verse equalization was a thing?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And with the domain, right? With dismantle and cleave, I'm pretty sure it was cleave that scales to the nin, right? Not the nin, but the curse energy.
Yeah, it's something like that. I wanted Restless Gambler to be in here, but I don't know if he's gonna be in here because he understands like Sukuna's powers better than me. But another thing though is I think there's a line of dialogue where it says like, out of the slashes in Sukuna's domain, yeah, Cleave attacks anything with cursed energy, and Shrine just attacks all of the inanimate objects. So, like, I don't think he would be really getting hit by Cleave. He would just be getting hit with dismantles over and over.
Right. So yeah, that's what I was gonna think. I was thinking earlier. What if he's able to like, where his durability outscales the dismantle, and he's able to tank it?
That's a possibility.
I don't think we have a lot of feats for dismantle to be on that same level of Meruem.
Yeah, that's a possibility too. Like, if he's only getting hit by the dismantles over and over, then it's like he might be able to just survive a whole duration and not be that damaged. Like, I mean, you'd have to start making arguments like, is Dismantle stronger than Netero's Buddha Hand? I think that they're at least on par. Like, I think it actually might be, to be honest, because we saw Sukuna at the start of the, like, at 3-finger Sukuna level, he was chopping the a special grade curse into 3 pieces when he was just like trying to chop it once. And then like 20-finger Sukuna is magnitude stronger than that, and like the durability scale for the special grade, it said that like a cluster bomb might kill a special grade, like it. And we heard with Uvogen, like his Big Bang impact is like the strength of a small missile. So like if you're being, a small missile and a cluster bomb are like kind of relative to each other. Like cluster bombs are usually used to like destroy cars and stuff. So yeah, it's like you could say Netero's Buddha Hands are like slightly on par. I guess it comes down to lowballing or highballing. If you think Netero's Buddha Hands are as strong as a dismantle, then Meruem is tanking the whole domain and not really getting hurt. If you think dismantles are like way stronger than Netero's Buddha Hands, then like Meruem might be in trouble.
Okay, if we take the interpretation of like it being relative towards dismantle, and do you know how strong the zero hand is compared to the normal hands?
Yeah,
we can scale that.
So I mean, it's just like that is kind of hard to scale. I think like there is a line of dialogue where it says like conditional Nen is exponentially stronger than like normal Hatsu. I remember like trying to figure out how strong Zero Hand was before, and I was like looking at the definition Kurapika gave for conditional Nen, and it said something like that it's like exponentially stronger. And we also just see that it's a lot stronger than Thousands of Buddha Hands were. Like Thousands of Buddha Hands did nothing to Meruem, but the Zero Hand actually did do some visible damage. So it's like, I mean, I'd say even if Netero had hit if Netero had hit Meruem with like 10,000 Buddha Hands, I don't know if it would have been as strong as like the singular Zero Hand was. So I'd say at least 10 times stronger, something like that. Well, like not 10 times, like 10 times stronger than 1,000 Buddha Hand slaps was. Actually, he had hit him thousands of times, like plural thousands. So like, I mean, it literally might be like 10,000 times stronger than Netero's Hatsu, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, if we apply that skill, wouldn't the favors of Meruem beating Sukuna outweigh?
Yeah, you could do that. And I honestly, if I'm being honest about it, I think that's a low ball for Sukuna if we say his dismantle is just on par with a Buddha Hand slap. And then if we do that, then like in a video, I would say that's lowball Sukuna. If you just think the dismantles are equal to a Buddha Hand slap, then Meruem's tanking the domain and like barely feeling it. and he's probably just outboxing Sukuna in the domain, like not even getting hurt, not even being blown back by it either. Like just they're kind of like bouncing off of him, like not really doing anything. And yeah, so against like if we say that, then Meruem is just like much more likely to win the fight.
Yeah, but yeah, like you said, that's like a really low ball. So yeah, that was literally the best argument I can try to make up on the spot. But
no,
yeah.
I mean, that is a good argument, and maybe that is the correct thing. It's just like, it seems like if you do the joules calculation for like how many joules of force is required to turn like the area Sukuna turned, he turned it basically into ash, and like the joules required to do that is like a lot more than an atomic bomb. So I don't know, maybe I was doing the calculation wrong, but I did it a bunch of times and it kept saying that like Sukuna's attack is like magnitude stronger than an atomic bomb is. So I might be wrong, but yeah, so I don't know. I think I will include what you said though in the video, because if you do think that, then it's accurate.
Yeah, wait. So you're saying that his splashes would scale to an atomic bomb from the ashes?
Oh no. His domain expansion plus Fuga together would be like, yeah, in terms of joules, like the joule calculation was saying it was like 30 times more than an atomic bomb in terms of joules.
Okay.
So like,
Well,
yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Well, if the condition for it is the domain and the Fuga, if Meruem is able to stop the domain, then wouldn't that not be a condition?
Yeah, but it's just hard to. I mean, I think it's a hard concept. Like, in my opinion, it's like a hard argument to make that Meruem would be able to kill Sukuna before Sukuna opens the domain at least one time, because like Sukuna has two hands. They're relative in like raw strength and speed. I do. Meruem is better at hand-to-hand fighting, probably by like a good margin, but to stop him from doing the hand signs a single time throughout the whole fight is like kind of a hard sell in my opinion. But I don't know, like, I mean, maybe it's possible though, like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'll apply for. Oh yeah, with Heian Sukuna, who already has like 4 arms. Yeah, it's GG's for Meruem. But yeah, that's my best argument. That's it for me. I appreciate you letting me talk, man.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, and I think like against Maguna, he would have a better chance of doing that.
What about Yuji Kuna?
Yuji Kuna against Yuji Kuna, that gets more tough because he's like more. I think he might be physically. I don't know if he's physically stronger than Heian Sukuna or not. Like a hypothetical like 20-finger Yuji Kuna. I don't know if he's physically stronger than Heian Sukuna. He might just be a weaker version of Heian Sukuna. So I don't know. That one's pretty tough to say. I'd have to think about it a little more.
Yeah. Okay.
And
yeah, man, I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. And yeah, Apothecary messaged me, said he wants to go next. Yeah, we could have Apothecary go, and then after that, I think I'll just like open the debate for everybody.
Yeah, I just came off of football practice, bro. Is it just Sukuna versus Meruem?
Yeah, it's Sukuna versus Meruem. I've been like debating for Sukuna's side just because like the polls were overwhelming, saying that Meruem would like low diff him. But what do you think? Who do you think?
I think Sukuna wins.
You think Sukuna wins? What are your arguments for Sukuna winning?
I think he's, in my personal belief, I think he's like probably a FTL opponent with like planetary AP.
Oh, I mean,
like if I would have mid-ball.
I mean, you can make. I mean, yeah, you could make those arguments based off of like Yuki and stuff, right?
Well, I don't even. I mean, like, yeah, I think like for the planetary stuff, I don't even usually use Yuki. I think that like Yuki is a big component of it. I think though it's everything else. I think that it's a pretty consistent thing within the JJK universe that they have the energy to create these like high level of how do I say, like, cursed energy structures. So, like, Dagon's domain, creating an island at the bare minimum, which still has a star in it, by the way, but, et cetera, et cetera. So I do definitely think he ranges from that, like, planet level to star level range, because, at the same time of Yuki's black hole destroying the planet, or to destroy the planet doesn't inherently dictate as well that, like, it's only planetary AP, right? Like, it can obviously be massively above that.
I mean, yeah, you can make these arguments. I just personally like stick towards like Sukuna being like a city wiper.
Why? Like, what's your issue with the black hole argument? Because I've heard issues with the black hole argument. I haven't heard, like, necessarily ones that I agree with.
I would say that like the argument I would make is like Yuki with the black hole is like the most potent attack in the verse.
The issue with that for me, right? Like, I hear people say that, oh, she can have this, like, strongest attack thing. I think it just goes against the narrative. I think the entire narrative of Gojo and Sukuna is that there is nothing that can stop them, right? Like, they have to, like, band together with these 30 strongest sorcerers to, like, stop a weakened version of one of them after one of them already fought each other, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like, we saw Kenjaku countered her black hole attack, so Sukuna and Gojo definitely would in some way as well.
Yeah, I think that even outside of that, there's still this narrative, obviously, that they're just, like, the strongest general, right? Like, for example, right, Gojo's born, right? The balance of the world shifts, right? Like, I think it would just go against the narrative of what Gojo and Sukuna are supposed to be if Gojo and Sukuna aren't, like, overall just the strongest, right? Like, if these people even have, like, an attack that can, like, nuke themselves, right? Then I think it's wrong. Also, like, the thing that makes Yuki's black hole so strong in the first place is just a death binding vow, right? That's what she gets out of it. And I think, like, Yuta is stronger than Yuki, and Yuta uses a death binding vow, and, like, I don't see the issue with Yuta's death binding vow being, like, more potent, and that's like a ghetto level attack.
Yeah, I mean, you can make the argument that they are on this level. I mean, the big thing I would say, though, is just, like, Jujutsu Kaisen, the honest truth is that it's just kind of an inconsistent series. Like, Gege didn't really pay attention to his speed scaling very much.
Yeah, no, like, Gege's admitted that on multiple occasions. Like, they were, like, they have this, like, very infamous statement, like, infinite to hypersonic to wherever said that, you're right. Like,
yeah. Yeah, he's pretty inconsistent, so it's like, I mean, if you highball Jujutsu Kaisen, they're way above that even. They're like 4-dimensional characters because of Gojo being able to move around in the prison realm. And the prison realm doesn't have time in it, so that would mean Gojo's, like, above time, and his, like, ability went beyond that. But it's like, I personally...
I mean, Gege does confirm that is the case. Like, if you really want to be, like, 100% truthfully honest, like, Gege does say that like, specific feat was, like, this infinite speed level thing.
Yeah, I mean, you can make arguments like that, but I mean, I view that as, like, the highest of high balls for JJK, and I view the middle ball interpretation that it's supposed to be a more grounded series, because it's like you have the special grade sorcerers. They're, like, stated to be strong enough to take on individual nations, and then Gojo as a teenager is stated he'd be able to take out, like, all the humans in the world.
Well,
but
I mean, for these special grades to be able to do that, they have to have, like, pretty seriously above nuclear warhead level durability, in my opinion.
Or they could just, like, yeah, I mean, that is, like, don't see...
Like, the argument that they can just maneuver around them, like, actually doesn't make sense, right? Because, like, one, right, the same people who would say that they can just maneuver around them also think they're only, like, hypersonic, right? And if multiple countries are shooting atomic warheads at you, you're not moving around multiple atomic warheads being dropped on your head at hypersonic speed. It's just not how it works, right? Like, So I don't know if you can't have both being true at once. Either they're massively above hypersonic and they can dodge them, or they're not and they're just taking multiple nukes on the forehead.
Or maybe they're referring to entire nations that don't have nukes. Like maybe they're just referring to nations that just have like tanks and planes. And that I can 100% see that actually.
I mean, like, that doesn't even make sense, in my opinion, right? Like, they're saying, like, oh, like, the special grades can take down countries. Like, I would assume they're talking about, like, more advanced countries, and the only reason I'd say that is because I don't think, like, most countries that don't have nukes or hydrogen bombs could take down, like, a grade 1 sorcerer. Like, I don't think they have the capabilities of doing that. Like, Naobito moves faster than guns and stuff, and, like, once he moves faster than that, I don't know how many countries are really gonna be able to deal with bro without, like, bombs and stuff. And a lot of the countries that don't have atomic bombs and, like, hydrogen bombs also don't have new generation fighters either, right? Like, I think people forget that the slope between, like, these first generation countries with their fighters and their jets is, like, very, very different. Like, even America, like, who's #1 at the Air Force, right? You know, you gotta understand they're top 4 in everything, right? Like, in the sense of they have the 4 best Air Forces up there, right? Which is our Army, our Navy, our Air Force, and I forget what else is the other one, right? Not the point. Our military, right? And then, like, obviously below us would be, like, significantly less, and then below that, I mean, you get the point, right? So, like, the jets and other things from these countries just aren't, like, going to be enough, and I don't think a tank is enough for, like, let's say, Nyobito. Like, I don't see how a tank is stopping Nyobito. Because, like, I think it's, what was it, like a grade 2 curse or something, or a grade 1 curse is what you need to take? You need a tank to take them down, or...
I think that's what it is. A tank is for grade 1 curses in terms of like their durability. But I wish Restless was here because he has all that memorized. But
I have the scan. I can go get it. I have the chapter memorized. I just don't have the specific wording memorized because like I just came off of practice. But yeah, like, point being, and obviously Nyobito is pretty significantly stronger than that, so he could probably like tank fire to the chest, you know what I mean? So it'd be very hard for me to believe that these, like, more underdeveloped societies could even take down, like, grade 1 sorcerer. I think they're definitely talking about these more mid to high-end societies that do have these, like, nuclear warhead capabilities.
I mean, yeah, that is a more debatable thing, but it's like, I mean, because the scale you're using for JJK is, like, the scale I usually use for the highballed version of it, but, like, it should be noted that, like, the highballed end of Jujutsu Kaisen is a lot higher than, the highballed end of Meruem.
Oh, my fault. I got it stated specifically for semi-grade 1 that even a tank might be useless.
Yes.
Yeah, so
like, you're telling me Nyobito isn't, like, tanking tank fire? Like, I don't know, bro, like...
Yeah, that is a pretty good point. The durability of, like, special grades and Jujutsu Kaisen's pretty impressive, but the other thing is like they regenerate intuitively, so it might be just factoring in that like a tank might like blow it up and do a lot of damage to it, but it can just keep regenning, so it's like unless you can like completely obliterate them basically, they just keep coming back, so that might be a factor in it.
Well, that wouldn't make sense either, because like if it is doing any sort of significant damage, right, tanks can kind of like rapid fire shoot. Like, don't see a curse regenning like significant damage before a tank hits it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially like a semi-grade 1 curse.
Yeah, I mean, these are good arguments. Like, the honest truth is I would say that the durability of the JJK verse is like higher than most of the Hunter x Hunter verse. But
either way it goes up, it does make more sense to say that, like, right? Gojo and Sukuna are like special grades among special grades, right?
Yeah, they're at the point.
To say, like,
oh, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just saying we see special grades lose to people like Mayday, right? And like cluster bombs, you need a cluster bomb, right? It might work, right? Mm-hmm. To take down like the baseline of special grade, right? And we see like people like Megumi, who's still grade 2 at the time. maybe semi-grade 1, being able to take down like special grade curses, right? So like, and then like you have somebody like Gojo or Sukuna who are special grade among special grades. Like the leap in strength actually kind of seems correct.
Yeah, I mean, you can make a good argument for that. And like I said, I just use those as like the high ball. Well, like let me put it like this. Like the medium ball interpretation I have is that like some of the special grades, they can defeat a nation. The special grades, they can defeat a nation's military, but it's not like they're decimating the entire nation, like turning the nation to rubble, for example. Like, because I consider, let's say Hikari. I don't really see Hikari like turning an entire nation to rubble. Or Maki. I say Maki.
I don't see the issue. I don't think Maki's anywhere near special grade level.
I mean, Maki is stated to be one of the heavy hitters, though.
Oh, well, like, okay, heavy hitters in terms of what, right? Like, one, Kenjaku doesn't know about Yuji's games at the time of that statement. I don't think you could say Kenjaku knows about, like, Kusakabe. Kusakabe very rarely tries, right? So, like, what's the next person? Like, Mei? She's, like, a heavy hitter in comparison to Mei? I mean, sure, like, that doesn't make her special grade.
Yeah, you could make that argument. I mean, the confirmed special grades we saw, it was Kenjaku. Well, no, not Kenjaku. Geto. We had Gojo, and then Yuta and Yuki. Those are the only 4 like 100% confirmed. And then it was like Hikari and Maki were considered like heavy hitters that were like on par with, like, the fandom believes they're on par.
I don't see why you would say that when like base Yuta has to think about whether or not like a jackpot Hikari who's like on a roll would beat him or not. Like, and it's very clearly indicative of base Yuta, by the way, because he'll reference Rika as its own entity, and he's like, well, I guess like if Hikari's on a roll, he might be stronger than even I. And then the Machi's like, yo, that's like cat. So like, I don't know, like base Yuta might just be stronger than Hikari, who's on a roll. Like,
yeah, you can make that argument. I mean, yeah, the scaling for Jujutsu Kaisen is interesting because like, if you lowball it, like if you lowball Jujutsu Kaisen, you just say Sukuna and Gojo, they're like at most town level, and everyone else is like massively below that, and like the special grades taking out a nation, they're doing that through like skill and regenerating themselves.
It doesn't even make sense, but we're.
I mean, I think it can make some sense. Like Yuki, her only way of taking out a nation, from what I saw, is her using her like black hole, because her just like.
Not true. If she's just like, well, that doesn't even make sense, right? Because they don't even know her technique that deeply. So for her to be special grade off of the black hole literally just doesn't make sense because they don't know about the black hole.
Yeah, it's a bunch of debatable stuff, but I think now I'm going to open up the chat. I actually do have to get going soon. I honestly was supposed to, like, stop here, but there is a lot more people that want to chat, so I might end up, like, canceling stuff later. I don't know, but we can just unmute everybody and let everyone speak now. I got a message from Supreme and I think B both wanted to go. But yeah, I guess we can just let everyone unmute, but Supreme, I guess you could go first, and then maybe B after, but...
Yeah, hi. Love the stream. One of the main arguments I had is that I think you were saying they would, like, Meruem was going to be relative to Sukuna in hand-to-hand, and to be honest, I think Meruem kind of stomps in a physical confrontation, mostly due to he's more strategical, he can predict, and most importantly, since this is verse equalization, then yeah, Sukuna would be releasing curse sparks every time he uses a curse technique, and that would be something Meruem can use to spot when anytime he tries to use, like, cleave or dismantle, right? And that also kind of leans into the whole domain expansion scenario. Even though I do think, like, I do agree with you that the individual slashes are stronger than Nether's Buddha hands, I do think that you could argue that Meruem could survive if he uses more Nen applications like like Ren or Ken to tank it. On top of that, we know if we're using post Rose Bomb, if we're using post Rose Bomb Meruem, then you can make the argument that he could use a lot more of UP's abilities to regen, right? To create extra limbs or extra eyes to see, get a 360 vision of what's happening around him and within the domain. So I don't think he'll be out, like, just because he can't regen from the domain expansion. On top of that, we know that Meruem can like predict you, like to the point of your biases. So it's very likely that he could probably maneuver his way through domain by predicting how Sukuna uses his slashes and cut off his arm, target his arm the same way he targeted Netero's arm when he was using the Buddha statue, right? And that by virtue should be able to disable the domain expansion, right?
Hey Supreme, are you saying like in the domain, or are you saying like, what do you mean by that?
Well, there's two scenarios. If when Sukuna launches the domain, Meruem could attack him then, right? By detecting the curse spark that happens before a curse technique, right? And because I believe there's a statement that says when someone uses the domain expansion, they're like focusing all their energy or all their curse energy at that particular point in time, right, to activate it, right? So by virtue of that, that could leave him open for like an attack from Meruem, right? And Meruem could go for the arm or the head, depending on how he feels at that moment. Then within the domain,
that's before the domain.
yeah,
right?
this is before. Now in the domain, right? In the domain, Meruem has options. He could use Ken to try and tank the hits, right? He could maneuver his way around the cuts if, depending on how you feel about the speed of Cleave and Dismantle. He can maneuver his way around the Cleave and Dismantle by farming extra eyes using UP's ability to have a 360 vision, right? And
real quick, Supreme. So he can't do that because the domain just instantaneously spawn on you.
no, but the issue is that in Hunter x Hunter, you constantly shroud yourself in aura, right? So it's not like aura is like well, it's not like aura just amps your durability. It acts like a shield, right? A natural code of defense. That's just even the first technique they learn, right? Is to take the aura that you leak from your body and shroud yourself with it, right? And it acts like a natural defense, right? That's why Killua couldn't beat Juicy, I believe, in the tournament, because he just had that around him. It was just blocking everything. So that's what I'm saying.
The only way that will work though, is you would have to speculate that when he uses Cole, it gives him a stupid amount of defense. Because I don't think you understand how like the complete power difference between just the normal versions of them are. Sukuna, when he had, I think, around 3 fingers at the start of the series, right? And his finger brung a curse spirit up to the point of a special raid, I think it was. Right? Which we know that they have to take, carpet bombs not how work against them, right? Lilos also brought up earlier, right, that that his hand, like Sukuna's like slashes might be a little stronger. They'd be way stronger based on Uvagen's statement of it being a small missile, and a carpet bomb compared to a small missile destruction capacity is absolutely astronomically bigger. Like it's a fat degree of how much it actually takes to get destroyed. So just a 3-finger Sukuna, right, would be strong enough, right, to one shot somebody who's a cluster bomb level of power or more, right? So by that statement, all right, you'd be having to say that Meruem, right, in that fight versus Netero, right, you'd be having to saying that he was massively, like, I don't know, holding back, or maybe he wasn't using any Ken. You would have to say his Cole or Nin would have to like give him such a amount of a defense that anything that Meruem would have done to him cannot even touch him or damage him at all. That's basically what you had to be saying. To a super degree.
I'll just say like that, like, that's kind of like another like cross-verse equalization type question. Like, would Ken still work against domain expansions? I mean, I think it kind of would, because we saw Gojo, like the reason Gojo wasn't instantly chopped into pieces was because like he has like a cursed energy reinforcement, which is pretty much the same thing as like what Ken is. It makes you like more durable, more stronger. So like that's why he's not getting chopped in half immediately, and then he was healing himself to like recover at the same time. So it gets
Milos, can you prove that proposition? Why isn't it just like Gojo's goated like base stats? Because like Gojo's like the glorious king of the verse, right? Like obviously he is the strongest, right? So like why can't it just be like his base like durability doing it?
like, you mean just him no cursed energy at all? Just
Yeah. He's just like he's no selling like the Sukuna slashes.
I mean, that's possible, but I'd have to look at that scene again because I thought that they said he was using cursed energy reinforcement. I'd have to look at that scene again, though.
Lilos, you say that you're talking about Lilos, even if we give you like the statement, right, that his code or his kin is strong, like he can use it, regardless if I give you that statement, you still have to be able to prove that his kin would have to give him a massive defense boost. Because again, if you're comparing like Netero's Buddha hands to a small missile compared to a carpet bomb, those are two completely different levels of strength, like astronomical levels of strength. Right?
Well, I mean,
you're telling me that.
I mean, it's debatable though because carpet bombs, like, they're mostly just used to destroy cars a lot of the time, and like a small, like, so certain like a singular carpet bomb is like on par with a small missile, but typically like carpet bombs happen in like waves. It's like waves and waves of planes. So it like a
actually looked it up beforehand too. Actually, what I looked up, and maybe it's just something different, and maybe I gotta do more research for it. But I looked up that when we was having that conversation, and it sounds like it destroys an entire city block from what I'm understanding.
I think a wave of carpet bombs would.
What are we scaling specifically? Why are we talking about carpet bombs?
It's because he was talking about how Uvogin's Big Bang Impact is stated to be as strong as a small missile. And then special grade curses, they have the durability of like a carpet bomb might work. So he's saying like
a cluster. It's a cluster, not a carpet.
Oh, it's a cluster. My fault. So okay, that might be. Sorry, that's my fault. Then me just remembering what it said. I thought it said carpet bomb. It's cluster bomb. So that's probably yeah. And because I did that, I looked that up like a year ago, and I was just trying to remember it. I should have looked at the translation again. These are the kind of things we need Restless Gambler here for, but
yeah, that's why. Because earlier you said that it was like you said that Netero's hands are like you could say like they're probably comparable to Uvogin's Big Bang attack, right? And I was just like the difference in power from JJK characters is astronomical. Because again, Sukuna was cutting down somebody who was cluster bomb level, and a cluster bomb might work. Like it's a might. It's not even that it actually can kill a special grade. A 3-finger Sukuna was doing that, so a 15-finger Sukuna or a 20-finger Sukuna would be astronomically stronger than that.
And there is one argument you could make though. You could say something like, you could say Meruem was fighting Netero without using Ken at all, and he took thousands of Buddha hands. So that's like let's say that Buddha hand is the same strength as Uvogin's Big Bang Impact. Like, let's say that each one is like a small missile, and Meruem took thousands of them without using Ken, and he barely felt anything. And then if he uses Ken, he becomes like 10 times. I think it's dozens of times more durable based off of like statements Gon was saying. Yeah. So yeah, you could.
That still wouldn't scale though, Lilos, because if we agree cluster bombs and like missiles are the same strength, which like you shouldn't because they aren't. Cluster bombs are weaker, but it's whatever. I think we just don't know our different types of bombs. It's pretty interesting. But the argument would still hold up either way because the idea isn't referencing the cluster bomb in of itself. It's referencing the idea that it's a maybe. And because it's a maybe, right? What we're referencing is saying like, okay, well, 1-finger Sukuna is still massively stronger than like most special grades, right? And then we know 20-finger Sukuna is like a massive leap above that because grade 1 sorcerers are special grade level when it comes to these curses, right? And then special grade sorcerers are a leap above that, and Gojo's punches make these special grade sorcerers throw up, right? So like, obviously Sukuna slashes would be massive margins ahead of this, and he can do thousands of them at once.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I mean, it depends on who you're lowballing and who you're highballing. Like, if you're, it's like, you can make argument. So I would say this, it's like, if you highball Meruem, you can make an argument that he could tank a domain similar to how he tanked Netero's Buddha hands. And if you're lowballing Meruem, then the domain would just one-shot him. The middle ball is probably like he's getting massively damaged by it. But then
what about World Slash?
World Slash would one-shot him. If it,
What about Mahoraga? What is Miriam's like defense to Maha?
I mean, his best bet against Mahoraga is like eating Mahoraga's limb, getting his powers, and then this was actually a win con I was saying earlier. Like we see from Meruem, whenever he eats something's aura, he gains their abilities and he gets stronger. And he actually,
I don't think Miriam's like strong enough to do that though. I think Mahoraga is physically stronger than Gojo and Sukuna.
I definitely don't like because Gojo like was stated to be able to one shot him.
Dude, that was at the beginning of the battle. Mahoraga just adapts. By the end of the battle, Mahoraga legit tanks a Black Flash from Gojo.
Yeah, but that's like a Mahoraga that's adapting. Like,
well, I thought you'd be referencing obviously like the strongest version of like Mahoraga and Maguna, right? Like,
oh no, I mean, if Mahoraga's fully adapted, he just becomes invincible. Even like Gojo and
no. But that variation of Mahoraga has already adopted to that level of strength. I'm not saying that like this Mahoraga is adapted to Meruem. I'm just saying the strongest variation of Mahoraga that we've seen is already physically stronger than Gojo and Sukuna.
I mean, even that's debatable because the Gojo that was like fighting him was he had like low cursed energy output anyway.
You think 2.5 like he's stronger than 2.5, the power of 2.5? Like that's how much weaker you think he got?
Even the power of 2.5 isn't I mean, like there's a line of dialogue where Gege like said he did that on accident. Like he actually meant like 2 times stronger. Or something like that. So
I mean that they never actually retconned it in the series. Like the series itself still says that this is what it is.
I mean, if we're using the power of 2.5, then Black Flashes would just be like insane. I don't think that's what they actually are. Especially when you have characters like Yuji who hit like 8 in a row and he's still barely doing anything to Sukuna.
Sukuna is just that much stronger than Yuji. What?
No, I think that's a whole other debate because like becoming exponentially stronger, that's like a zero hand over and over and over again, basically. Like that's kind of.
I agree. I think that's what it is, and I think it's fine for these characters to just be that much stronger than each other.
I don't know. I think that's a debatable. That's a more debatable.
I think that's the whole point of Sukuna and Gojo is that they are this much stronger. Like I think that is literally their character. Their character is like, we are this much stronger than the cast.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree that they eclipsed the cast, but I think the idea of a Black Flash being 2.5, an exponent of 2.5, like that's, I don't think Gege meant for that. Like, especially since like there's dialogue from him saying he didn't mean that.
And I've never seen that dialogue. If you can fetch it for me or whatever, like if it is the case, right? I agree. Let's say I agree that it's 2 times. Do you think that like 2 times Gojo at that moment when he was already starting to pick it back up with his cursed energy and it was already rising and stuff, is still like massively weaker than regular Gojo to the point where like Mahoraga no selling these punches doesn't mean Mahoraga is at least like high end relative with them in physical stats?
I mean that's a whole other debate really, but like that's hard to say. I mean, I need to go back and see exactly how nerfed Gojo was at that point. Like he could have been at like 20% and then was just like ramping back up, so like the punch Mahoraga blocked was like less than half power Gojo, and I'm pretty sure it was still like sending him flying too, but
no, it wasn't. He no-sold the Black Flash.
Oh, I remember he like he protected Sukuna from one of them, but I need to go back and look at that because that's like an entirely different debate. But I actually have to get going. Was there anyone who like didn't like? Wait, Supreme, did you finish your point? You were like in the middle of your point, and like I think B wanted to share, because I actually do have to get going.
Yeah, so just to finish off, so because I know we discussed some of the domain expansion points. I guess it depends on how you scale them power wise in that scenario. But the other option I was saying in that scenario is that even if you say, okay, Meruem loses a limb, he'll be able to just remake it using UP's ability to create extra limbs, right? So not only can he just make an arm, he can actually make 4 or 6 arms if he wanted to. Like he can make any any body parts he wants to, and using he can also grow stronger using UP's rage ability, and and we're not even talking about the fact he has Shiapu's ability, where he can just probably even just mentally catch Sukuna in an illusion, or put him to sleep, or put him under control. Right? There's also that option there with the scales that Shiapuf has. And he can use his photon abilities to probably learn all that stuff from the jump. So, like, he could just predict everything Sukuna is going to come at him with from the beginning of the battle using his photon ability. So there's a lot of options Meruem has tactically to get an advantage over Sukuna before he can actually, press his advantage with the domain expansion. But that was really what I was trying to give. It was just like, there's a lot of options post-rules Meruem has to defeat Sukuna, outside of the domain, stuff.
No, those are good arguments. I mean, it's an interesting idea. Like, if Yuppie got an arm chopped off, could he just regenerate a new one and, like, not be damaged anymore? Or does the damage still stay, but he just has more arms? Like, that's an interesting thing. And then the other thing, like, the idea that Meruem can clone himself. So, like, when Poof was using his clones, like, his clones were like small baby versions of himself, so they're not really that useful in a fight. He would have a bunch of small baby versions and then one like full-sized version of himself. But like, since Meruem got his ability and like improved on all of them, he might be able to just make a bunch of full-sized Meruems, like a shadow clone jutsu version of Meruem, and all the clones are invincible. Unless you burn the cells.
That's even scarier that I thought. He if you're lenient with it, he could probably make smaller photon-sized versions of himself, right? Since the photon ability is kind of like an evolution of Shiapuf's ability, right? To sense people with his skills. So, but that's just something to picture.
You're saying he could make photon-sized Meruems?
Yes, how Shiapuf used he like separates himself into multiple bits, right? Mm-hmm. And becomes smaller versions of himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he could do. I'm suggesting he might be able to do that, but instead it will be on a photon size level, right? Photon size Meruems, what have you.
Maybe. Yeah, that's a possibility. I more lean towards the idea that he would be able to create multiple full-size clones of himself. Meanwhile, Poof could only make, we only saw Poof making a bunch of small clones. I mean, unless there's an example where he had more than one full-sized version of himself that I just don't remember. There might be, but like from my memory, it was always he would have one that's full-sized and everyone else was small. But if anyone remembers otherwise, like, let me know. But yeah, I think.
All right, Lilo.
Oh yeah, B is that B?
Yeah. Okay. Before you go, my argument was just that like Meruem should just be speed blitzing Sukuna, because like I don't think you can really argue like lightning speed Jujutsu Kaisen.
Why would you say that?
Because like the Mach 3 Naoya statement.
Yeah, that's something you can use too. If you say like Mach 3 Naoya was like on par with Maki, then like maybe Gojo and Sukuna are like 10 times faster than that. They're still like, they would be like 10 times slower than lightning. You could make like an argument like that.
Yeah, because like the Kashimo feat is kind of just an outlier, and like I feel like the feats aren't very concrete. So, and like also his like lightning attack is treated like a sure hit effect, similar to like domains. So I feel like a lot of people who use that argument, it just doesn't really apply.
I mean, what are your thoughts on like Hikari being able to beat Kashimo?
I mean, that's just like matchup diff because of like jackpot. Like I wouldn't say like Hikari scales to like lightning, for example.
The only like argument to that is there is one scene where like Kashimo shoots a lightning bolt at Hikari, and he starts, it like looks like it's about to hit him in the face, and then he moves and it just hits his arm.
Yeah, I think that's more so just like Gege not realizing the speed of lightning, and like also just, I mean he still gets hit by the lightning, like his arm, so.
Yeah, I mean it's that's also possible. I mean, if we're lowballing both, um, yeah, because I consider the Mach 3 scaling like if we use that for Sukuna and Gojo as well, then like I consider that like the lowball version of Sukuna. But you can make a good argument for that being like the actual interpretation of the story.
Yeah, because I just don't really see the arguments for like mid ball and especially high ball, because like even with like Kashimo's curse technique with the electromagnetic waves, like even then you can still see like Sukuna technically aim dodges it.
It's I mean the biggest thing though is like we have a scene where Kashimo shoots like a lightning blast at him, and then Sukuna goes like dodge this, and then he does the world cutting slash chance, fires it. It does that all while the lightning beam is like traveling through the air. So he's like fast enough to chant faster than the lightning, do the hand signs faster than the lightning, and fire it faster than the lightning. And then the world cutting slash chops it in half. So it's like, it seems like he wanted Sukuna and Gojo to be faster than lightning to me, but it is debatable. Like I've seen people make arguments that like the lightning isn't even the speed of lightning, it's like the speed of how fast they can fire cursed energy. I've seen that argument. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's a case of like Gege showing the speed of Sukuna's chance to be kind of inconsistent, because I think like I forget the feat, but it's something with piercing blood where like Sukuna can, I don't know.
yeah, I mean the speed scaling in Jujutsu Kaisen is just actually inconsistent. It's like all over the place.
Yeah, and I think with I think piercing blood scaling to like the speed of sound, I think just Mach 3 and like vaguely above that for Gojo and Sukuna is just more consistent. Because I feel like it's kind of the same logic as using like Yuki's black hole to like argue Sukuna being planetary, where you just kind of take the strongest outlier and like apply it to the whole series.
Yeah.
Why would that be the case?
What was that?
I said, why would that be the case? For Sukuna, you know, they're massively above everybody else in the series. Why would they not be massively above them in speed on top of that?
I mean, I said like they can be vaguely above Mach 3, but I don't think you could argue like lightning speed, because that's just like so far above Mach 3. That'd be like Mach 500 or something.
Are we using lightning speed for Hunter x Hunter 2 or?
I mean, I'm not as familiar with Hunter x Hunter scaling, but I'm pretty sure Meruem should be above lightning.
No, because there's no characters that are above lightning in Hunter x Hunter that we know of. Keela was not moving at lightning speed. You could say that if Keela was moving at lightning speed, but he's not.
I mean, I guess Lilo would have to argue on that, because I don't really know.
I mean, the speed scaling in Hunter x Hunter is debatable too. Like, you can kind of make the same arguments you're making for Jujutsu Kaisen. There are some feats that like back up the idea of like the Royal Guards and up being like relative to lightning though. Like, there's this one line of dialogue in the manga where Yuppie's thinking to himself. He says like, if a lightning bolt's going to hit me and I see where it's coming, I can dodge it, or like it's something like that. He says something like, if a lightning bolt's going to hit me and I know it's coming, I can dodge it. But that's like Yuppie's interpretation. He's also stupid, so he could just be wrong. But yeah, it's like the lightning scaling for both series is like kind of tough to do. But I just use them both for the middle ball interpretation. But
Yeah, because now. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was about to get going, but what were you saying, Ryu?
Oh no, because I was gonna say I was looking up Keela with little feats, because after, because I think we know that Keela was probably one of the fastest characters in the series, if not faster. Like his brother and them can't catch him, Hikasa can't catch him. Like he's probably one of the fastest characters in the series that we know of right now. Right, and I was looking up when they went to go chase him on like when one of his butlers turned into a motorcycle and went to go chase him. Right, and I was saying you could just take that feat when he was moving at max speed, right? And she said it takes him about 10 minutes to cover like 40 kilometers or so, right? You could just take that and scale it, and I think it's like, that may be like Mach 1, Mach 2 speed at the most. And then Gojo and Sukuna is clearly probably like, if you don't want to say they ain't got to be like Mach 10 or Mach 12 higher, but they're probably like Mach 6 to 8. Like they massively outscale everybody else in JJK. So I was gonna say, yeah, you can just use that scale to scale how fast Kilo is.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of a low ball, all things considered. Considering Kilo like takes down like jet fighters and stuff, and it would be just relative to his travel speed when we consider the mechanics of how Godspeed works.
yeah, and that is true. Yeah, because Godspeed has like two parts to it, and like even that has a debate in and of itself too. Like some people think they're both moving at the same speed, like what Ryu was saying. So like, so if you lowball Godspeed, what Ryu's saying is like true. Maybe that actually is like how fast he's reacting and running. Maybe they're equal. Or you could say like his reaction, like if you highball it, his reactions are like the speed of light, and then the middle ball is like his reactions are like the speed of lightning. So there's like a debate amongst that too. So.
Yeah.
But
doesn't like Meruem have a light speed attack? Or it might not be an attack, but it's like something with his end.
yeah, his end travels at the speed of light.
And then like one last point was I think Sukuna's Fuga is like considered slow even in the verse. So like he didn't use it against Gojo. So like even if we wanted to lowball Meruem to like Gojo speed, I feel like one of his Sukuna's biggest win cons is like too slow to hit Meruem.
Well, like
I think it's the charge up that's slow. I don't think him sending it is slow. It's the charge, like the time that he takes to charge. Like he had to do like a little dance and shit and like do all these motions and shit to charge it up. That's something that I hate about Sukuna. He does that with a lot of stuff though. Like he has to like he nerfs the shit out of himself because he has to do like a lot of different chants and stuff like that. Like that's the only thing that I think could hold him versus Meruem is that he's doing a bunch of chants. Like when it comes to speed, but like even if you wanted to say Meruem had a bunch of speed, like the damage difference is so insane. Like I don't even know what Meruem could do to him to even hurt Sukuna in the first place.
I mean, yeah, that's a good point from Ryu. No, you're good. That's a good point from Ryu. It's like the charge up of Fuga is slow, but like once he fires it, it just like seems to fill the entire domain with fire pretty fast. But I do have to get going. But you guys can keep debating in this chat. But I do have to get going though. All right. Thanks everybody. See you. All right, chat. I am about to get going. You said Godspeed at lowest can't be Mach 1. Karapika was catching bullets back in York New. Yeah, that's true. I think it's reactions. I think that is a very, very low ball for the reaction speed. I think the reaction speed's faster than the travel speed, but there is a debate amongst that. But I do have to get going. Thank you everybody for tuning in. This was a fun debate. But yeah, I got to get going now. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one.